going
a
to be.
bit,
It's not
and
standard
I
to say.
think
One second. Wait. It's not standard to say that the law of identity is a well-formed formula.
I will just say
what more do you expect
Cartesian
out of the law
theater.
than what that
Real
expresses?
quick, real quick.
Well, the
Cartesian
law of
theater.
the law of identity is a statement about a class of formulas. Or it's also a statement about the
Cartesian.
class of
no,
formulas
Does
being.
it's
Cartesian
not.
theater have me muted?
It's also
not
a
a statement
statement.
about formulas.
Wait, 1 second. Whoever is like talking over me, just 1 second. It's also a statement about a class of formulas being either theorems or tautologies.
What? Are you talking about something else? I'm talking about the law of identity, which says that each element in the domain is that same element. Are you talking about something else?
May I chime in?
Why? Wait. Can you wait? Is there a way you can like stop talking for a second?
It's mathematician. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're talking about a formula, if you're just talking about a formula for all x equals x, I'm saying that's just not a. I mean, that's just a proprietary understanding of what the law of identity is.
Just not. I mean, I can find sources that mention it in that way. But what more?
Okay. Yeah. Give one.
Sure.
Yeah.
But what more would you expect?
What more you need?
More to express?
Yeah, because the law of identity it's not talking about a specific formula first, it's talking about a class of formulas. And it's talking about a class of formulas being theorems.
About the objects. No, that's a different law.
What are you talking about?
So Cartesian theater.
This is just a bunch of confusion. Right,
are you talking about a different law? The standard law of identity says each thing is itself, identical to itself. We're talking about objects.
Hold on. I don't know what you're talking about. Like the law of the law of identity. Wait, let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. So you can have a formula that might express that, or you can have a formula that might, when interpreted, express that each thing, quote unquote, thing in the domain is itself. Like you can have formulas like that, but I'm saying that's just not the law of identity.
That's the sort of classical law of identity. Maybe there's a different law.
So you're saying so you take the view that that's the standard notion of the law of identity, just that formula.
Correct.
Okay,
well,
so what's the argument that that's the standard notion?
Just look up anything that mentions the law of identity. What? That's what the law of identity says.
So just name one source. Yeah, just name one source that supports that for you.
Okay. I mean, the first thing that comes up is the Wikipedia page. Obviously, it says what I said.
Okay, so you have Wikipedia. Good job. Okay.
All right. I'll find an actual philosophy source if you're.
Just name one. Just any source that supports stuff here.
Okay, I'll find something else. I'll try to find something that's actually philosophical that mentions it. I mean, I could find a textbook.
I would like to add that.
Now the reason why what you said is not enough.
Holy shit, dude.
Is because suppose you have. Wait, sorry. Go ahead. Suppose you have a formula for all x equals x, right? You might have a formal system where for all x equals x is a theorem, but for all y equals y is not a theorem, right? But when you're talking about the law of identity, what you want to say is that all formulas of such kind are theorems, or even all formulas in the form a equals a, where an instance of that schema would be a constant equated to a constant with the equality predicate is a theorem as well. Right, so obviously that's not the law of identity. You're saying something stupid because you don't know what you're talking about.
In classical logic, that's how it's always represented.
Yeah. So what's the source that supports that for you?
Yeah. Let me find a fucking textbook. I'll pull it up. Give me a second. I'm on my phone.
Like I don't know why you just like say dumb stuff like this that you aren't able to defend.
I mean, this is obvious. I learned this in my first.
It's obvious. Like, where is the source that supports the view? Like, stop wasting time.
Yeah, I'll get it for you. Hang on. I'm just download a textbook. I'm on my phone.
So I looked into this, and I think Cartesian theater is correct. The variables in the first law of identity, it can't be universally quantified because
shut the fuck up.
Hey, why can't the variables be universally quantified? Why?
Because that requires second order logic.
No, it doesn't. You're not quantifying over propositions or properties or relations.
Quantifiers are predicate logic, man. Do you want me to pull up my textbook?
You're quantifying over objects. That's a regular first order logic shit. Are you serious?
No,
Hey, why don't you stop
quantification is
dodging,
not in
Detroyer?
first order. Propositional logic is not predicate logic. You know
I'm
the
not
difference
talking.
between predicate logic? You know the
Yes.
difference between
In first order,
you know the difference
in
between
first order logic or predicate logic, you quantify over objects. That's what the law of identity is saying. It's saying for each object, it is identical to itself. That's the law.
Well, that's
If you
not.
don't
I
know,
mean,
if you don't know that that's the standard classical law of identity, I'll get a textbook to explain it to you. But I mean, you can also just Google it. I'm trying to find it. Every
Yeah, I'm
source I
gonna
find
Google
on
it right
Google
now.
says
Hold
it,
on.
but
I'm
but it's
saying
not like
the idea that like, well, each law is identical to itself. That proposition is not a formal understanding
no,
of the law of
each
identity.
object is identical to
That's
itself.
not. That's also not a formal understanding of the law of identity.
I'm not saying that's a formal understanding. I'm saying that's the
Okay, so like I don't know why you're
natural language
wasting our
understanding.
time with non-formal. First, like we're talking about a formal understanding of the law of identity, and second, we're looking for a source that supports
You,
your view that the
yeah, I'll get the
standard
source.
understanding is something that's a well-formed formula. And you're not going to be able to defend this view, so you're wasting your time.
I mean,
And
I
you
already
can
gave
go ahead and
Wikipedia,
find
but
it.
I'll pull up a textbook. But do you agree that the natural language understanding is the law as normally understood, right?
Yeah, there's a natural. Yeah, I agree that the natural language understanding is like
Okay.
everything is identical to itself. But who cares about that? We care about a formal understanding
Okay.
here.
Hang on. Do you agree that the formal understanding that I represented expresses that? What's
That
the other
like
way
for
of
all
saying that
x
every
is equal to
object is
x.
identical? What's another way of saying every object is identical to that object?
Wait, okay, so I agree that like that state. I agree that you can represent like every object is identical itself. You can sort of translate that as for all x is equal to x if that's what you're talking about, right? But that's
Uh-huh.
just not a formal understanding of the law of identity.
Well, I'm not sure what you want out of a formal understanding of it.
Right,
That's
the
Oh,
one
formal
logic.
because the
I
formal
am
One logical.
mistaken.
understanding,
That's
the
one
formal
logical
I am
understanding,
representation of that
mistaken.
law.
presumably the
So
formal
so
understanding,
he
just
is
like any.
so
Wait,
universal quantifiers are
let
first
me just
order.
make one statement real quick.
I
Just
was well. I'm just correcting myself
okay,
for
go
the
ahead.
other guy real quick because I had mentioned that universal quantifiers were second order. I looked it up. They're actually first order. I didn't know
Oh, you
that.
thought?
I thought
Oh,
they
you
were.
didn't think that they were allowed in first order? No, that's what.
Right,
No,
because
the difference
there's a
between
few.
first order and higher order is what you're quantifying over.
What are you Yeah, what's that difference? I'm not familiar with that.
In first order logic, you're quantifying over objects. In second order or higher order logic, you're quantifying over things like propositions or properties or relations. And you can define different ones.
What? In first order logic, yeah, the quantifiers range over individuals in the domain. In second order
Uh-huh.
logic, it ranges over sets of individuals. Third order logic, sets of individuals, and so on. I don't know
Well,
what
no,
you're
no,
talking about.
that's one. No, that's one way to think about it, but not necessarily. Because you can think about properties as
Just
sets
get
of
the
individuals.
source that defends that that's the standard view of the law of identity. Look, now the
I'm
reason
looking.
why, like, now maybe you can express that informal statement, everything is identical to itself. Maybe you
Uh-huh.
can express that as for all x is equal to x, right? But when you're talking about a law of logic, or at least, ordinarily what a law of logic might be, what you're interested in is you're making a statement about a class of formulas being theorems or a class of formulas being tautologies. Okay,
That's in
and
general
this is
true about
and this is
laws of logic,
effectively
but that's
how
not true about
this is
law of
effectively
identity.
how every law of logic is stated. Okay,
That's true
and
in
Oh,
if you
okay.
general, but
Actually,
not of the law of
you're
identity.
incorrect. You're incorrect, Cartesian. I'm going to post this from Wikipedia right now.
and can you like
I already
stop
I already
talking?
mentioned the Wikipedia, but he doesn't want to accept that one as a source, so I'll mention.
When did I what? Just okay.
I
If you
told
have
you.
look,
I told you
if you
Wikipedia
okay,
said what I said, and
post
you
the
said give
Wikipedia
me another.
article. Let's look at the Wikipedia article first before.
Yeah, I'm interested in what you think about this. Hold on.
I thought he dismissed it because it was Wikipedia.
This is from the second order logic page.
Oh, well, it's also on the law of identity page.
Well, at the
Logic.
very end of this, picture, it says this is the law of excluded middle, and they're literally using second order logic to build the law of excluded middle.
No, I'm not. We're not talking about the law of excluded middle. Yeah, you need sort of well, you can quantify.
I
it with
originally made
propositions.
the claim. that you need
What
second
is it that
order
in the
logic
Wikipedia
to.
article you think supports your view?
Well, because I
Oh,
was making the
No,
claim
mathematician,
originally that
can you
second
like
order.
stay out of this, please?
I mean, it explicitly says the
What?
law of identity can be expressed as for all a equals a on the law of identity.
Right.
Okay,
No,
when they
that
say the
makes
law of identity
sense.
can
Yeah.
be expressed that way, are they talking about the proposition everything is identical to itself?
Yes.
Okay, well that's just not a formal understanding.
Why not? What's wrong with that? It's
What do
another
you
way of
mean? That's just
expressing each thing in the domain is identical to that thing in the domain.
that's like that's just like I mean, there are of course like there are naive understandings of what the law of identity is, but a formal understanding of the law of identity wouldn't correspond to a formal understanding. That's like saying like there's
This
just like
picture I posted in
you
the side chat
you
is
can
a
talk about
I'll
this.
formal
be honest.
understanding
I don't know.
You
of the
can
law
talk
of
about
excluded
I
you
don't
can
know
middle.
talk
why.
about this. You can talk
And
about
in
this
the law
proof
of
that
excluded middle, it uses second
okay,
order logic.
mathematician. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to locally mute you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we're talking about the
Like
law of pseudo middle there. That's
like
because
there
you're
are many
quantifying all the
there.
propositions. That's fine.
Do you understand the difference between like a naive understanding of a law of logic and a formal one, right?
Yeah, I guess. This
Okay.
Is
is formal in the
Wikipedia
sense that
Okay, so we're
naive?
talking
it's
about
an
Is
the
accurate.
formal
Wikipedia not
understandings.
formal enough?
Look, I mean, maybe you're looking for something more formal, but this is certainly an adequate representation
I'm
of it
looking
in a
for
formal
a formal
system.
understanding. Like when I'm talking about the formal understandings, there are standard ways that laws of logic are understood and talked about among
Well,
logicians
but here,
in
yes,
textbooks, in literature, etc. I'm not talking about some naive
no,
understanding. Now you're making the
no.
claim, or at least it seemed like you were making the claim, that the ordinary way among logicians, formally speaking,
Yeah,
that this would be count as the law of identity, that the law of identity would be a
yeah.
well-formed formula. Do you take that
That's
view or not?
yes, of course, that's correct.
Okay, so
Look,
if you
look,
take that
what you're
view, like just make the argument for that view.
yeah. I'll bring it. I'm going to go to my computer and get a textbook. But let me just make a quick point. You're generally correct that laws of logic are not expressed in first order logic or propositional logic because they're not expressive enough. But this one is perfectly expressible in first order logic. So that's normally how it's done. Let me go to my.
Well, that's just repeating the view that the standard
So why
understanding
is
of,
it
or at least
then,
the standard
Destroyer,
form
that
understanding of this
the
law is
the
a
law
well-formed
of
formula.
excluded middle requires
Right? That's
second order
precisely the
logic?
view that's not being accepted.
That's a different law that's not expressible in first order logic.
Also, another
Why
thing
is
is
it that
like
that law though
another reason why
requires
that's
second
not
order logic,
enough to
but the
say that
law
that's
of
the law of
identity
identity
requires
is
first order
Because
because
logic?
you can have a formal language with for all x is equal to x, right? But that formula might not be a
By the
theorem,
way, I muted
right? But when you're
Cartesian
talking
Theater
about the
because
law
he
of
muted me,
identity,
so I'm willing to engage in
minimally,
oh,
conversation.
you've muted each other. So someone I don't know. I can't do this if you're just going to talk over each other.
okay, do you? Oh my God,
Give me.
mathematician, what? I'll unmute. Wait, hold up. Uh, leave this for a second. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and you sucked. That too.
I don't know why you're so annoying. Like, okay, look. The point is that like you want to talk about like so you could have you could have the law of excluded middle, or you could have that formula you're talking about, but there might be a system where that formula is not a theorem. Okay, but when you're talking about a law of logic, minimally, like I said, you're talking about a class of formulas being theorems. But you at least want to say if you are, like, let's say you are trying to say anything, you're talking about things that are at least valid statements in the logic, right? But you could
Yeah,
have that formula without it being a theorem. So that's not going to nearly be enough to talk about the law of
yeah.
identity.
In general, laws of logics are claims about what's a theorem or not. But in this case, it's actually a claim about the objects in the domain, right? That each of them are identical to
Yo,
themselves.
you guys,
Okay,
It's a
guys,
this is a
guys
lot of
watch
this is getting out
nigger.
of hand. Let's just try. Like,
You
oh, hold
guys
up. Let's
watch
just try not
nigger
to
dick
deviate from
porn.
this. So,
You
like,
guys are only
what are you
niggers.
saying
You're
that supports
addicted
the
to
view that this
nigger
is like
dick
the stand?
porn. You guys like big nigger peepees. That's why you're here,
someone
because
mute,
you're addicted to
someone mute
nigger.
this guy.
I just don't want to get out of hand here. Like, what do you have that supports the view that this is the standard understanding? Let's just start there.
I mean, anything I found on anything you can search on Google supports that. But let me. I'm going to find
Okay.
a textbook that speaks about it more formally, and that'll be better.
Like, you didn't know about anything like beforehand, or?
I didn't know a textbook that talks about it offhand. No.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm on my computer now, so let's see if Hurley mentions it. I don't remember if they do. 14th is the most recent, right? It's downloading. Put this one too, in case it's. Wait, why can't I? Oh, here we go. Okay, that one doesn't mention it, unless it's under some other name.
Well, while we're waiting, could somebody kick Nightclot?
Oh, Nightclot's here.
Yeah, what the
Thank
fuck?
you.
That guy will not be kicked from the call. No, he will not.
Yeah, just everyone locally mute Nightclot.
Yeah, I don't
support
give a
that.
fuck about it.
Hey, Nightclub, remember when you got bitch?
God, this. Okay, this stupid fucking loud mic. Can you actually have a real voice, Eric, and stop this stupid loud mic?
You got
If
bitch.
anybody should be now kind of
You got
muted, it
bitch.
should be Eric for that fucking stupid loud mic. Okay,
You got bitch.
I don't know why people allow that in here. Who's ever the owner of this room, I'm not sure. Did Donald C?
You got
Can
bitch.
you tell Valid Inference he either puts a real mic on or he gets muted? Because
You got bitch.
these fake mic, loud mic shit, this is
Is
fucking
this really
annoying.
what we need?
Micha is.
Yeah, Donald C there.
Donald
Well, I don't know,
C is gone.
Oh, Donald. Okay. I think this is his room.
Wait, is that the same Donald C from Clubhouse?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's the Donald C. Everyone
Oh
knows that
god, that
Donald
guy's
C.
actually,
horrible.
he's still here.
The GOAT Donald C. Yeah.
I think he went to sleep though.
That guy's crazy. Okay, let's see.
He got
It's like-
mad at me earlier for believing in the tired light hypothesis.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
He
like
just
when I
pushed
first
the whole
joined this
thing.
call.
Dude, he was straight up screaming into the mic.
Yeah, don't bring that up. That's a bad idea. He might wake
Mathematician,
up.
did you take your sort of daily scroll down r/atheist today, or?
I don't go on Reddit anymore.
Oh, you
And
evolved.
so, Detroyer, can you refresh me? What are you looking for right now?
I'm looking for some textbook that talks about the law of identity, especially one that mentions it in a kind of formal sense.
Oh,
And
okay.
Hurley doesn't use it? There's no way. They don't talk about the law of identity. Wow.
You're saying the law of identity is thought of as like some kind of like first order construct?
I'm saying that that's one way to express it. Of course, if you think that classical logic is flawed, then you might think it's inadequate. But that's, a standard way to express it is for all A equals A. For all X equals X. And that doesn't require anything more than first order logic with identity.
That's very controversial to say in the server.
Okay, apparently, I didn't think
At
it was
least
controversial.
at least 30% of the people on the server are gonna look at you and say you're a liar.
Oh wait, where did Mason go?
Way more than that. Like, I'd say like 99% of the people on the server think that it's
No way.
like real thing.
No way. That's too high.
No, real talk, real talk. I have debated atheists on this. I have debated jail Warren on this. I have debated uh
Yeah, but jail
agnostic
Warren.
one. I've debated so many fucking people on this.
Hey, just relax, Taco.
I am relaxed. I was just saying a lot of people actually
No, just
think that
yeah,
here.
just calm down though.
Maybe I'll just look for papers that mention it. Yeah, I guess there's some.
So Taco, what point do you disagree with J.L. Warren the most? Let's go. Let's hear the spicy disagreement.
So wait, did Mason leave?
Guess so?
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh,
I'm
and
still
Oh
here.
no,
Taco.
he's here.
Okay.
Oh no.
But I'm just curious of how J.L. Warren and Taco disagree.
I think jail Warren's beliefs about logic and that type of thing don't fall in line appropriately with nominalism, and he's fallen into a theist trap on them. But that's neither here nor there.
Cartesian, are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah, so are you saying that like the law of identity is this like meta logic thing? And the thing that like Detroyer is saying, like for all x equals x, this is just like some kind of like instantiation of it, but it's not the thing itself.
Yeah, he's just talking about a specific formula, but like the specific formula won't be the law of identity.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Right? Because maybe, like, again, like maybe you have a system where that formula is like a theorem, but like for all x, for all y, y is equal to y is like not a theorem or something. Like maybe you
Yeah.
have like those cases. Like the point is like this is just like a nonsensical view.
That makes no sense. The question is, well, what does the law of identity say? Does first order logic have this sort of expressive?
Yeah, we're talking about the formal understanding, not an informal understanding.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's saying
Well, I
meta
think
You have
if you
you
want to
have
be
its
able to
rules
quantify
in
over
first order
statements,
logic,
wouldn't it
but
be second? Wouldn't it be
you
second
don't
order?
you don't
Seems
need
like
to
second
Wait,
order.
quantify over.
the
It's
mathematician, no
first
offense. Can you
law of
just
identity
let
is a
Detroyer
law.
talk?
We're talking about, so we're not talking about the informal understanding everything is identical to itself. We're talking about a
Right.
formal understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
And the question is,
Like
does
it's
first order logic have the expressive capacity to
No, the question is the
express that?
standard formal understanding of DLY a well-formed formula? Right, that's the question we're trying to resolve right now. So don't
The
like derail with
I
like
mean,
other like irrelevant questions.
like if you're ever going to give a formal understanding, that's the kind of most common one that you'll see, I'm sure. But the relevant question I think
Yeah,
is
I
whether it
know the view
actually
you hold,
expresses
right?
that
What's in
logic.
question is whether the view is correct. Right?
But
Don't just like say that you hold the view again.
do we disagree that that actually expresses it?
So if you're okay, so do we disagree that for all x is equal to x expresses the proposition, or at least can symbolize the proposition, or is an adequate translation of the proposition every object is identical to itself? No.
Right.
Right. Now, do we disagree on whether this is the standard understanding of the LEOI, like among formal logicians? Yes. Right. That's the disagreement right now. Right. We're not interested in what an informal or colloquial understanding is. We're interested in what's the standard understanding among logicians. Right. And you're saying that they would say that it's a well-formed formula. Okay. Well, what's the evidence for that?
Okay. I mean,
the thing I'm reading is saying in
it
meta
seems like
logic, the law of identity is a fundamental principle stating that a thing is identical to itself, essentially meaning that x is x. It's a basic axiom that something is always equal to itself and forms the cornerstone of traditional
yeah,
logic
but
systems, often expressed as so
Yeah,
it's
but
an
all this stuff
equation.
is kind of like, I mean, these aren't like this is kind of like that's kind of like garbage.
yeah, saying x is x is just another informal way of stating it. It's not a well-formed formula. In first order logic, at least. I'm trying to find some textbook that talks about the law of identity. I can't find anything. I've only looked at 3, but
Wait, so Cartesian, like, if you had to define law of identity, how would you define it?
Yeah.
well, what
So
would be
if
an
I were
appropriate
to,
formal definition?
yeah, if I were to suspect, what the right formal count would be, if I were to suspect like what most logicians would take it to be, I would suspect it's something like this. Either you have this, you can do one of these two, like sort of like metalinguistic schemas. The class of formulas instantiating a is equal to a are theorems, or the class of formulas instantiating for all x is equal to x are theorems. So I would bet one of those is what formal logicians typically call the LOI. And that's like sort of based off like how other laws of logic are treated, right? So talk about the LNC. We're talking about what usually whatever law of logic we're
Oh, okay, I
talking
think I
about.
understand.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
this is typically like
Yeah.
how they're going to be expressed. Like
Yeah.
you can look at a lot of papers or like textbooks for that. So like just going along with that pattern, this is how I would expect the law of identity to be expressed.
Yeah, it's just
Of
like
course,
the
it's not
class
a theorem of
of
first order
it's
logic,
not
though.
like one instantiation.
What's not a theorem of first order logic?
You can't. How are you going to prove? Okay. How are you going to derive that? Well, your example was, for example, that a equals a.
Wait, hold up. What is it they're saying is not a theorem in FOL?
Assuming that we can't use like a law of identity as a sort of inference or something like that. That a equals a is a theorem of first order logic. How do you derive that?
Okay, well, hold up. Are you saying that a equals a is not a theorem in first order logic?
Well, it depends on what you're allowing as inference rules. You can have it as a theorem.
What?
But
No,
how are you
is a
driving that?
equals a theorem in first order logic? Yes or no?
I don't think it is.
You don't think a equals a is a theorem in first order logic? Are you like trolling?
How do you derive it?
What do you what are you talking? It's a theorem in first order logic. Why are you asking how do you derive it? Like, are you joking right now?
If you're
Like,
saying it's a theorem, then
are
you
you
should be
like
able to
messing
derive
with me?
it. I mean,
You agreed it's a theorem, so why did you say it wasn't?
no. How is it a theorem? How do you derive that?
Wait, before you ask
It's
how do you
ontology.
derive it, are you questioning whether it's a theorem or not?
Yes,
So you're questioning whether a equals a is a theorem.
correct.
Like is this like are you actually agnostic as to whether this is like a FOL theorem or not? Are you like
I'm,
being
no,
performative, or
I'm
like
not.
is this
I'm
your
not really. I'm not. I don't think I'm agnostic. I don't think that is derivable. So I don't think it's a. I don't.
Okay,
How's that a
so
theorem?
so go into a proof checker and put in a equals a and see if it's valid.
It's a tautology. I agree. I
What
don't
do you
think it's.
think a
I don't think
theorem
that's a
is?
theorem. A theorem is something provable from the empty set.
Okay, so if it's a tautology, it's a theorem.
Incorrect.
Incorrect?
Yes.
Did you just say that's incorrect?
Yes. Are you serious?
You think that there are valid statements in first order logic that aren't theorems?
By valid statements.
Yeah, valid statements.
So first order logic is first order logic complete? Is it?
No, just you're questioning it first. Detroyer, are you serious? Come on, like look. I don't want to get mad at you, but like, what are you talking about? Yes, it's.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, first order logic is both sound and complete. That's right. But in general, that's not true. That the fact that something is a tautology that is provable or that's a theorem. Yeah.
No, yeah, there might be. Look, there might be, systems that don't have this property, but like I don't. But yeah, classical first order logic does. Like I don't. I'm just shocked you would say something
But
like
how do
this,
you?
to be honest.
Right. I forgot about that. But how would you derive A equals A from the axioms of first order logic?
Oh, hold up. How would you derive when you ask how would you like so you're asking how would you derive it
Or how would you?
axiomatically?
Yeah. How would you prove it from the an empty set of premises?
Wait, hold on. Okay, wait. Let's just be clear. How would you prove it? Like, which system are you talking about?
First order logic,
No, like which proof system?
which doesn't matter. I don't know. Just do
Okay,
a fish
well,
style proof. I don't. Whatever.
yeah. I mean, like I don't know off the top of my head how you would prove it, but like I mean, I'm sure I could do it pretty
Well,
easily. But
I just the
does
reason I
this
was skeptical
matter?
of
Like,
this
isn't the question whether it's a theorem, and we agreed that like it is a theorem, and like you were like wrong about it not being one.
I don't see the reason I'm still questioning about this is I don't see how what could possibly be used to derive that. I just doesn't.
Okay, so you're unclear on like how you would derive that theorem.
Well, more specifically, I'm more skeptical that there is a way to. I don't
I
see how
mean,
that.
if you're talking about Fitch style natural deduction, you just have like, I mean, identity is just a rule. Same within if you're doing like the analytic tableau, like identity is just a rule, so you'll be able to derive it trivially. So I mean, those are easy ways to do it. I mean, do you have something else in mind?
Yeah, but hang on. What's the identity rule go? It's been so long since I did Fitch for natural deduction. Fitch for first order logic.
Yeah, see, look at what Oppie put in the chat. So like identity is just a rule. So it's like trivial Fitch style. It's also trivial tableau. I mean, if you're talking about like the analytic, if you're talking about like I mean, sorry, not analytic, axiomatically, I'm not even sure how that proof would work. But like, I mean, but like, okay, look, there's no more confusion
Oh,
as to whether this is a theorem, is there?
so okay, but this is just taking. Yeah, I mean, this is just an application of the law of identity. Okay, I guess.
Wait, no,
I guess if
that's not, hold up, that's not the law of identity. That's the rule
it's
identity.
it's an instance of it. In other words, it's like saying, instead of for all x equals x, we can just substitute for x a particular.
No, that's just the rule. That's the inference rule identity. That's not the law of identity.
Yeah, but what? No, it's not the law. It's like taking a for all statement and then giving a particular instance, and that's
No.
right or
There's
equal
no.
to A.
It's just saying no. You just have look. It's just you have a rule identity and you use that rule. That's it.
No, I know. In Fishtail in this for this rule here, you can just say there's some rules that are actually called language as well. I don't know what the relevance is
Sorry,
there.
in this rule here, you
Well,
can say what?
So for this rule, and this is true just in general, right? Or oftentimes anyway. When for the law of identity, you can just for any line in a Fitch-style proof, you can write where A is some constant, that A equals A, or you can write B
Yeah.
equals B or C equals C. And
Right,
that's
but
the inference rule you cite there is identity. But
yeah.
the fact that that is a theorem is basically just, or that is permitted, is basically just a consequence of the law of identity, right?
Wait, what? Okay, wait,
Well,
hold up. Wait, you said the fact that wait, let's just try to break this down.
Mhm.
The fact that that's a theorem is a consequence of the law of identity. What do you mean by that?
right. So
What does
the
that
law of
mean?
identity, for all, like that, for all x, for everything in the domain is identical to itself. You're able to infer this as from the from the assumptions
Yeah,
of the
you
logic.
can infer this. Okay, so you can infer this from like universal elimination. Right, but that's irrelevant because
Right.
presumably when you say it's a theorem, you're saying you can infer it without any assumptions, right? And the proof sketch you're talking about, you would already have to have as a premise the universal statement. So I don't get the relevance of that.
No, I mean, look, you can have a proof system where you can derive that without making that assumption explicit. That's fine. That's what's going
What
on
do you
here.
mean without Wait, what do you mean without making the like? I'm not okay. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. You're saying a bunch of stuff that makes hardly any sense to me. Like, so
Okay.
you're saying that like it's only a theorem because it's a consequence of this. Well, no, it's a theorem because it's provable from the empty set. I'm not sure what you're saying when you say it's a theorem because it's
Look,
a consequence of this.
Yeah, there's different ways to put it, right? So like in this, one way to think about logical theorems is not because in different proof systems you're going to have like explicit axioms, and then you can iterate those and so on. In other ones, it's just like, well, you don't have any explicit axioms, you just have the inference rules that you're allowed to employ.
Yeah, I know what different proof systems are.
Yeah. One way to think about what's going on here is that, well, yeah, okay, it's just this rule that we have is a valid inference on the system. Another way to think about that is as well, if it's sort of based on this more basic theorem, right? That for any object in the domain is identical to that
What
same
does
object.
based on mean there?
Well, you might ask, why is this a rule, a valid inference rule in this system, in this Fichte system?
Yeah, if you're asking, hold up, there's no. I don't get, like, if you're asking why is it a valid inference rule? No, the rules of the proof system just are what they are.
Yeah,
Right? There's no like why
I'm-
is this a valid rule? They just are valid rules.
I don't know, but the question I'm asking is, why is that included as a valid rule?
It seems like you're asking about the motivations of the people who constructed the proof system.
That's one way to think about my question, but the answer that I'm looking for
but-
is because it's an application of the law of identity.
Wait, I don't know precisely what motivations the people had, but like if you're saying, if you're asking why this is a theorem, well, no, in explaining why it's a theorem, you need not mention the law of identity whatsoever. It's a theorem precisely because it has such a derivation. Or it has nothing to do with the law of identity. It seems like you're asking like some different question about, okay, why do people, like something about like, proof theory, like why do people construct proof systems in the way that they do? Seems like a different question.
Yeah, no, but why is that inference rule, or that like rule that we talked about there, the identity rule that you can do in Fichte proofs, why is that included? Why is that a valid
You're
rule?
asking a question about why people construct systems. So you're asking a question about proof theory. You're just asking, okay, well, why construct a proof system this way? Okay, but like I don't see what's the relevance of that question. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
The point is that that's included as a rule, or that is thought to be valid because it's an application of the law of identity.
Wait, hold up. So you're saying the rule is valid because it's thought to. Okay, well, if you're asking it, so if you're making a statement about like the intentions people had when constructing the system, well, I just don't like know what like. I mean, I have some general ideas to like why they might include these rules, but like I don't know why anyone would think they had the law of identity in mind. So I mean, it just seems like there's no reason to think what you're saying is true. I mean, you're just like pulling that out of nowhere, right?
You don't have an idea why they would have the law of identity in mind for the identity rule in Fichte proofs, which is used in this, whatever.
Yeah, I think that they know that, well, the class of formulas in that form are theorems, and so maybe it might be useful when constructing a proof system to have a rule that allows you to just import any theorem like that for free. Right now, there might be different proof systems without that rule. Okay. Right? And there might be different motivations people have for constructing the proof systems in the way that they do. Right? And you're just saying that when they did this, they had the motivation to do this because they were thinking about the law of identity. And that just seems like a claim that you pulled out of thin air that you have absolutely no support of. Like, why would you believe that?
I have no support for thinking that this is motivated by the law.
Obviously, I'm being tongue in cheek there, but I'm saying like there just seems to be like no good reason to think that. Like they might have had other motivations, like the ones I just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean now I think you're trolling me.
Oh, now you think I'm trolling?
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, so let me just repeat what I said, and then you tell me which part you find trolling. So there might be different motivations for constructing proof systems. Now, here's one plausible motivation. Okay, these formulas are theorems. Maybe this is like a rather important theorem for one reason or the other. Maybe it's useful for some other reason for us to have a rule that gives us this theorem for free in a deduction. Right, so we include this as a rule. That's one motivation. Notice that in that motivation I just gave you, I didn't appeal to the law of identity once. Right, now it seems like you're saying that when the people constructed the system, they had some other motivation as opposed to this one. Well, it seems like there's like no reason to think that. like unless you have some like analysis of like proof theory and some like further reason to think that like this is what they had in mind as opposed to like some of these other considerations.
Yeah, I still think you're trolling, but just on the off chance that you're not. Obviously,
Oh,
the
you
main
think?
motivation is
Why
that
do you
because
think I'm trolling? What do you think I'm
yeah,
trolling about? Do you think like what I said doesn't make sense?
yes, obviously, but
Okay,
I
which
think you're
part didn't
trolling
make
it.
sense? Which part? Okay, I'll explain it to you.
I'll just hang on.
Which part didn't make sense to
You
you?
already went over it twice. I just for other
No,
people
just
that I
no.
think
You
are
said a part of it didn't make sense. Which part?
the conclusion. That for the people that I think are
What? Wait,
not
what
dishonest
conclusion? The conclusion of what?
of what you just said.
Just say the specific part that didn't make sense to you. I'll explain it.
Yeah, never mind. I'm trying
Oh,
to
never
explain.
mind. Like
I was
there's
gonna
like nothing in specific. Wait, what?
I was gonna explain again the obvious motivation for thinking this was a
I'm
product
not
of the
at.
law
Well,
of
no, I'm not
identity
asking you
for
to.
the
No, I'm not
for the
asking you to repeat the
for the
motivation
people.
on your end. I'm asking you to explain the part of what I said that didn't make sense.
Yeah, for it was gonna be for the people that were not dishonest. But anyway, that's not.
I'm asking you for the part of what I said that didn't make sense.
You said it, and I said the thing that you said. Like, what, I don't know
You
what else I
said
need
the
more.
conclusion, right? That's not
Yeah,
saying anything specific. Like what exactly?
you don't remember the conclusion of what you said? Never mind. I
The
can't be bothered.
conclusion of the speech I just went on. Oh, okay. Wait, did he actually like run away?
Yeah,
like that?
you blow him the fuck out, dude.
Dude,
If I could just jump in.
I've lost all respect for that guy. That was like the worst I've ever seen him.
Just
That
to,
must
sorry, go ahead.
no, I've just completely like lost all respect I've had for Detroyer. That was terrible.
Yeah.
He has a
He
feeble
literally
mind.
said that A equals A is not a theory. He didn't even know that
Yeah,
predicate logic was like complete. Like, what is he talking about?
just to jump in. There's also I don't know if you saw the thing I put. I mean, also if you because I heard you guys mentioning how you would do it in an axiomatic system. It's very similar. There's just going to be an axiom where T1 equals T2 for any term.
Yeah, I
and
should.
then
Yeah, I
obviously,
should.
like, some
And I
constant
should
A
have. I
equals
should have
something.
remembered that. But like, I haven't like looked at the. I haven't looked at the CPC axioms in a
Yeah,
bit. But like,
it's also very easy natural deduction, pitch style. I don't know if it's the same in Gensen style.
wait, was that all recorded? Was that all recorded, by the way?
I believe somebody said they were recording. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just go over all the errors he made. He said that like, okay, he said
This
that A
is
equals
recorded,
A.
by the way.
He said A equals A is not a theorem, right? He said that it actually is false that if something is a tautology, then it's a theorem in first order logic, right?
Yeah.
He said that was false, so he doesn't know that first order logic is complete, and then he ended up realizing he was wrong. Okay, what else did he say was confused? He was asking why is this a theorem, right? And he said the reason it's a theorem is because it's like I'm not even gonna like go over it, but like that, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna lie if I said like I still have any respect for Detroyer after what just happened.
Yeah, well. Some people just too proud to admit when they're wrong. Emotionally invested.
I mean, and by the way, Oppie, we were kind of like commenting on this. Like, dude, this guy like what now? What do you think now about his logic knowledge?
I mean, it obviously far surpasses yours. Like, you're not very confident here, but
Oh, come on.
what I was gonna say is, I'm not sure if this was said, but T1 equals like T equals T or A equals A, whatever. Those are usually not called the law of identity when you read like in logic text. Sometimes they will call certain rules, like a certain identity law, like for example Leibniz's law or something, but that's not one of them.
Yeah, like there's like the identity of indiscernibles and indiscernibility of identicals, like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
sometimes.
some of the rules in a proof system are referred to in that way, like you said, identity of indiscernibles. But the A equals A rule, they don't refer. That's not called the identity law in any text I've seen. Just to be clear, I don't know if this was said on either side.
Right, and did you track like the last important point about like proof theory and like why what he was saying like made like was like kind of confused in a certain way?
If you're just asking me like, do I find it to be a weird question to like ask why something is a rule, outside of just asking like why the people who
Yeah,
constructed it,
and also
then yeah.
furthermore, like how he was saying, well, it's because it's an instance of identity. And I was like, okay, well, no, there could be like a range of like tons of other, maybe like for some range of reasons, right? it just makes a better proof system to get this theorem for free, or these class of theorems for free in a deduction, right? And you can say that without mentioning the law of identity. Like there's like no reason. Like he's just like kind of like speculating, right? And like throwing like these intentions people have when constructing proof systems, as if like there's any reason to believe any of them.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think I even needed to show how you would derive in the specific proof system, as long as like he agreed that it was complete and sound, and he agreed it was a tautology. So, but what was I going to say is, I was going to say something you made me forget. Oh
I
yeah,
don't know,
I was
but
just going to quickly say, like, can somebody kick Nightclot? He's like really stupid. Please.
yeah, but like I mean, but like, okay, what do you think about the perform? Because like I felt like at the end when he was saying like what I was saying made no sense, and I was like getting him like what exactly didn't make sense to you? He said the conclusion as if like that helps anything. Like
I'm not going to comment on performance publicly here.
no, but I'm just saying like I don't think I've ever seen him be bad faith that way. Like that's the one thing. It's like forget everything else, but has he ever been like intellectually dishonest in that way?
I mean, Mason, would you say that was plus or minus aura for Detroyer?
I mean, I hate using that language, but okay, look, I'll just say this. I think that was like maybe one of the worst performances I've seen him have. I think he said like many false things. He even admitted to that. Right? That's very obvious.
Wait, and
I think he made a claim that this was like a standard view among logicians. He couldn't defend that claim. So like I mean, yeah, that was a horrible performance from him. Like there's like just nothing else to say.
wait, I want to be fair. So just to make sure though, before I make this next comment, what were you taking the law of identity to be in terms of the meta language scheme?
Yeah, I said the class of formulas that instantiate for all x equals x are theorems, or you could say the class of formulas that instantiate a equals a are theorems. Like I'm sure I'm saying my best guess is like either one of those.
And then in the second one, you said what is a there?
That's supposed to be like constant terms.
Okay, so then to be fair, maybe when he was saying so the rule I sent was that's just, I think he was saying something like he said something about like that is the law of identity. What was he saying exactly? He said that represents.
He was saying the rule. He was saying the rule isn't a quote unquote. So he was saying the rule was the reason why the rule is there is something about. I don't really get it, but like the first thing is was like the rule was the law of it, and I was like, well, no, that's just.
Okay. Well, then to be fair, there, like if the rule there is being interpreted as some meta language scheme where a equals a is like a theorem or something, or all instances of it where that's meta linguistic variable, would you think that that's inaccurate?
If the rule there is being interpreted that way, yeah, that might even capture what I'm taking the LOI to be. But then if he's calling that the LOI, then he'd be contradicting himself because he said it was a well-formed formula. Like I'm not sure if I'm thinking of like rules and systems as that way, but like it could turn out that yeah, maybe that's the right way to think about them.
Yeah, okay. Because I was just gonna say, to be clear, the rule I sent, that is like the way you'll see that standardly described. At least if you're just like saying the Fitch style natural deduction rules, those are interpreted to be meta-linguistic schemes as well. And so that one was.
Yeah, so it might turn out why is he like typing in the chat instead of like actually coming to VC, but whatever. Yeah, so it might turn out that like yeah, so
wait, can we kick Nightclot though? Please, somebody who has
I don't know who's the mod and who.
I'm a mod in here. What do you want?
But Oppie, do you want to debate that topic I bring up? You clearly are
got
woman
bitch.
repellent.
Kicking the
Clearly
blonde
are
feet.
woman repellent, Oppie. No chick's gonna ever touch you with a 10-foot pole. I can hear that nerdy, dorky voice.
This is some guy
You are
who's like
clear
filled
woman
with
repellent.
steroids down to his last bone.
You got bitch.
Probably
Okay.
smells
Yeah,
disgusting.
Oppie, we know you just
Nightclub,
are
you got
just
bitch.
woman repellent. That's it.
I don't want to
Nightclub,
look
you got
muted.
bitch.
Can somebody?
Oh yeah, this guy also said that men should do athletic events naked. By the way.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
They
well,
should.
hear him out.
They should watch
They
that.
should do
What's wrong
that
with
because it
that?
would show up their
Ancient Greek.
genitalia
That's
for breeding
Spartan.
purposes.
That's ancient Olympics. Do you have a problem with that, Bart? Yeah, maybe because you're a fucking dweeb who looks like shit.
Wait,
And you have a small
would like to
dick.
get back to
Reason why.
discussing with.
Yeah.
He's got a giant dick too.
Somebody kick him, please.
The IQ of the shrimp drop.
Stop being a little bitch.
Or how about this? Can we all just collectively agree to mute him, because I want to make sure that the smart people are heard by everyone.
Whatever, you little people aren't gonna fucking.
Everybody,
You little
just mute
bitches
him
are
on
gonna do
three.
that.
1, 2, 3. I muted him.
No, I muted him.
Oh, thank you. Who is teach kids to be trans? You're amazing. Thank you.
All right, look, I'm gonna give him like a 1 minute mute because I'm not supposed to be doing this as a guest room. But after that, you gotta calm him down. Okay?
All right, wait. We can just organize here,
So
so
Mason-
everyone here can just locally mute Blonde Beast, and we won't have to deal with that problem.
Mason. Hello, Mason.
What?
Are you reading the chat right now?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that claim right there?
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah. It seems to be right. Oh, but what's the relevance of it?
Wait, Mason, so was Detroyer saying that the law of identity is just for all x equals x?
Yeah.
And you're saying that it's actually the class of formulas that resemble that, because
it's saying that those class of formulas are theorems, at least. Like if it were anything, but like if I'm being honest, now I'm kind of questioning like there might not be like, so I might need to read more literature, because now it seems like this idea of the law of identity might not be a convention that's typically bootstrapped by philosophers. It might turn out that that's true as well. But if there is something, it's probably going to be like what I'm saying, given like the pattern of how laws of logic are typically expressed in philosophy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in formal systems.
Like, is it because like when you say like for all x equals x, like that's gonna be like indexed to like a given domain, and it's just not gonna be like broad enough to like encompass something like this concept of like the
Well,
law.
like the idea is like, okay, well, x equals x. Okay, we have that formula. That formula could be a theorem. That formula could not be a theorem. We also have like another formula, y equals y, that's just equally as good as a candidate to be the law of identity, same with z equals z, etc.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's the idea. So like the first complication is like, okay, well, if you say it's the formula could not be a theorem. Right. But presumably like when formal logicians are talking about laws of logic, they're talking about things being theorems or statements being valid, etc.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like class, and they're talking about, and it's not going to be like an individual formula, right? Because you're going to have some corresponding formula that's just as good as a candidate. And when you're talking about laws of logic, typically you're talking about classes of formulas, right, that are expressed with like metalinguistic schema.
Yeah, so he's basically just putting the cart before the horse here, like, and
Yeah, but like, I mean, we have a guy who was like questioning if A equals A is a theorem, and who didn't even know, I mean, whatever. I want to talk to, I'm sorry, in Bart Larkwood. So.